All right, friends, we are live. Shabbat Shalom and Good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos.
It has been quite the day, but and it was hot today, hot. But it's all good because we are entering into Shabbat, and we need it this week. And so we're going to have Lydia come up. She's our speaker this evening, but she's not going to speak just yet. Well, she is going to speak, but she's going to recite the brachot as she kindles the Shabbat candle. She's going to ben shlicht for us this evening.
Yep. Okay. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of it.
Push forward. Pull the trigger. There you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'haydlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you. It is also Pride Shabbat, and so that's why we have our very own Lydia speaking this evening. Page 9, let's read responsibly. Page 9. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain.
On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but share.
There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted.
On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation.
There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others.
On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and that their world our own.
So embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Let's jump ahead to Lecha Dodi, page 20, from the wonderful mystics in Sfat, the holy city of Sfat in the Galil. Page 20. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad, ihishmi'anu el ha'miuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shem tiferet v'litila, lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mekor ha'bracha, me'rosh mikedem nehesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila, lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, mikdah hashmelech ir melucha, kumitzi mitoch ha'fecha, ratla hakshevet b'mecha b'cha, Vehu yachamol alaychem la, lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, hitna ari me'afar kumi, livshi bidei tifartei chami, al yad b'ishai beit halachmi, korva el nafshi gehala, Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, hitorari, ki hiva orek kumihi ori, shir daveri, kivod Adonai alaych nikla, lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lo tevoshi, v'lo tikolmi, ma tishochachi ma tehemi, bach yechesu ariyeh ami, v'nihiv netayir al tila, lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, V'hayu l'shimsa shosaich, v'rahachaku komeh b'alayich, yasis alayich Elohayich, ki himsos hatan al kala, lecha dudi ligrat kala, B'nei Shabbat mikabila, yamin v'smol, tihi frotzi, v'et Adonai taritzi, al yadish ben partzi, v'nihi smecha v'al bila, lecha dodi mikra kala, B'nei Shabbat mikabila, Bohi v'shalom ateret bala, Gaham b'simcha u'sohola, toch emunei am segula, Bohi chala, lecha dudi ligrat kala, B'nei Shabbat mikabila. Let's continue on page 22 with some verses from Psalm 92, the Psalm for Shabbat. And let's read that outdented paragraph together. A song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. With a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together. You have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai, how very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand it. Tzadik katamar yifrach, keherez balmanot yiskeh shetuli. Beit Adonai, b'chatzrot Eloheinu, yahafrichu. O Jenuvu b'seipa, b'shenim v'ra'ananim, yihiyu lehagi. Ki Ashar Adonai Suri V'lo Avlatabo. Page 24, let's welcome the angels who come to spend Shabbat with us with the traditional greeting of Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Boachem l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Baruch hu nile shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Teichem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu. We have welcomed the Shabbat and it is here with us. Let's turn to page 146. I'll ask everyone please rise as we begin the Arvit service, the evening service for Shabbat. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed. You may be seated. Let's read together on 147 the paragraphs in English. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you, and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Aravim. 148, the second blessing before Shema. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha Havta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, v'shochteinu uvkumeinu, nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha, li'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayinu, v'yorech yameinu, v'yorech yameinu, uvehem negeh yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavat techal tasir mimenu li'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levacha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol me'otecha, v'hayu advarim ha'eleh, Asher Anochi mitzavecha hayom al levanecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlektecha b'derech, uv'shoktecha uvkumecha, ukshartam liot al yadecha, v'hayu latotafot b'neinecha, Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeruhu v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem le'Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 151, let's read responsively in English. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. When will redemption come? Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neder ba'kodesh, nahora tehilot, sefer malchutecha ra'u banecha, bokeyam lifnei Moshe, zeli anu v'amru, Adonai yimloch Le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar ki fad Adonai et Yaakov, u'galom yad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Top of 153. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu le'shalom, v'ha'idenu shomreinu le'chayim. Ashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'ha'amideinu Shomreinu L'chaim. And let's read together in English. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft, evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Page 144. Vishamru, it's not Shabbat without it. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Page 155, please rise. We'll begin the Amidah together. Pages 155, 156, and 157. After 157, we'll go silently, and you can finish the Amidah reading the Hebrew, reading the English, or offering up your own personal prayer. But we'll begin together on 155. Adonai sifatai tiftach, uviyahi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach, uviyahi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips and my mouth to declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu V'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. El Hagadol Hagibor Bandora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Mekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot V'imahot, U'mevi Yoel V'nei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshia U'magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, V'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayim Itimat Harav L'Hoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayim Itim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofech Cholim, Umatir Asurim, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורו ומידו מלך, מלך מביט ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני וחיי המתים. Let's continue, middle of page 160. Let's read together in the middle. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat. A little bit of gratitude, a little bit of hodah, thankfulness. Lots to be thankful for this week. Mom and Cliff are in town, so we won't be seeing their greetings online, unless they can do two things once. I don't know. But it's also been a good week in a lot of other ways. But doesn't have to be big ticket items. Can just be something small for which we are all grateful and thankful. Page 163 at the top, let's read responsively. For the good in us which calls us to a better life, we give thanks. For the desire in us which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For life and nature,
let's close out on 164 at the top with the prayer for peace. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה לשלומך. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Praise you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom. We're going to jump ahead to page 253, the Misha Berach, one of our prayers for healing. And if you have anyone who needs a little bit of extra healing this weekend, please keep them in your thoughts and close to your hearts. Middle of page 253. Misheberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Laimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Pages 258 and 259, prayers of our community. Mr. President, how about the prayer for our congregation?
Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us. Love of Torah, devotion and prayer and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otacha levacha b'yira na'avod. Maury, the prayer for our country.
O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit.
Amen.
Amen.
Shalom, shalom, Yerushalayim, Yishlayu Uvayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avinu Shabbat Tzur Yisrael V'Go'alo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmichat Ulatenu. Hagein Aleha B'Yavrat Chasdecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha V'Amitecha L'Rasheha, Sarheha V'Yoetzeha, B'Taknim B'Eitzah Tova Milfanecha, V'Natata Shalom Ba'aretz, V'Simchat Olam Niyosva, V'Namar Amen.
Amen.
David, would you read the prayer in English, please?
O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield beneath the wings of your love, spread over the thick canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there.
Amen.
Amen. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom. Good Shabbos.
This week's Parsha is Shlach Lecha, and it's the story of the spies. And it's the second of a group of Parshiot that one of the main lessons is how we use our words to communicate things. So now Moshe is told to send out some spies, and 12 go out to scope out the land of Israel before they conquer it. The reason number 12, one from each tribe. After 40 days, they return, and they have an interesting report. 10 of them say that the land is fruitful, but the cities and the countryside are filled with warriors and giants. and that they are so big that it's unlikely that Israel will be able to conquer them. And the 10 spies say, we felt as we were grasshoppers, and so they must have looked at us the same way. Caleb and Yehoshua, they disagree, and they urge the people to keep faith, and if they do so, they will conquer the land for sure. As usual, Bnei Yisrael listens to the loudest voice, and they cry out against Moshe and Aharon, let us return to Egypt, let us go back to Mitzrayim, things were perfect there, having forgotten, it seems, that they were slaves. God gets angry. This is one of the times that God gets angry instead of Moshe, and threatens to abandon the people and to create a new people for Moshe to lead. Right? God is like, you know what? You think you have trouble with them? I'm just going to get rid of them, and we'll start afresh. But Moshe pleads for mercy and says to God, you know, your reputation's at stake here. What are they going to say in Egypt when they hear that you took the slaves out, and just because they got a little fidgety, you squashed them and started over, right? And that would be a bad rap to have. And so God says, all right, for their lack of faith, they're going to have to wander 40 years in the desert. And that generation whose faith was so lacking, even though they saw all of the miracles, they will never step foot in the land. And according to the rabbis, this is where the holiday or the tradition of Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, began. So after that lengthy story, we learn that the ger, the stranger, is to be treated exactly like a member of Bnei Yisrael. The same ritual and the same law applies. We learn the story of Zelophehad, and his daughters are quite famous in a couple of parshiot, but he was a person who was out gathering wood on Shabbat, which is one of the forbidden works, and forbidden things you should do, you can't do, and so he was put to death. Can you imagine nowadays? I mean, all the things that are, like if you play with your cell phone or your iPad on Shabbat, it gets put to death because that's considered work. Driving your car is kindling fire if you have an internal combustion engine. The word combustion should get away. But we think he was gathering sticks, and that's what he got in trouble for. No, times were different. And his daughters will be very famous in a couple of parshiot. And then we end the parsha with the third paragraph of the Shema, the command to put tzitzit on the corners of our garments with techelet. And it's a reminder that we are to follow the mitzvot and to be holy. And there were believe it or not, only 3 mitzvot in this week's parsha, 2 positive and 1 negative. And that is your Torah portion in a nutshell. It is now my great, great honor to call upon our own Lydia Glazer to come up and talk to us in honor of Pride Shabbat. And what I have realized recently is that she is probably the youngest of our youngsters, the youngest of the people I've had speaking during Pride Month. Usually they're old people like me who, we grew up when it wasn't the greatest time for gays and lesbians, and it also was the time of AIDS. But Lydia's generation has a different story. And so I'd like to have her come up and speak to us a little bit in honor of Pride. Would you like this here, or do you want to move?
I think it's good there. I think
Oh, well, if they can't see you, they'll let you know.
it's better if they can't see me. So I'm going to try to keep this brief because I hate talking in front of people. So I'm going to start by saying, like Rabbi said, my experiences are not at all the same as his or any of the other speakers we've had. I personally am lucky enough to have grown up in a time where queer acceptance is, for the most part, at its most popular. And I'm also lucky enough that I don't even remember when I came out to my parents, because to them, who I was attracted to was one of the least important things about me, so it wasn't a big deal at all. And I know that every night my dad would also go to bed and pray for a gay kid. So, well done. I'm also lucky enough that for the majority of my life, I've been able to see progress being made for the queer community. I know it feels weird, at least for me, to be speaking like so soon after Rabbi Butcher's funeral. But what I will say is that he was the first rabbi I grew up with, and part of the reason I've never felt any fear or concern about my queer identity is because I grew up Jewish, and I grew up within B'nai Shalom. And I've gotten to be around a community that's so openly accepted and supported its queer congregants, so I'm grateful for that. What has been worrying me, though, is that recently within the American political sphere, things seem to be moving backwards for the queer and trans community, and the progress that has been made that I grew up around over the last few decades is being threatened. As this happens, it's easy for us to say as Jews that we aren't connected to the queer community, so we aren't responsible for supporting them. But the thing is, though, Jews have had a long history of involvement in and connection with the queer rights movement and the LGBTQ plus community. Emma Goldman, a late 19th century Jewish political activist, was the first prominent person to publicly speak out in favor of queer rights in the US. Leslie Feinberg, who's the author of Stone Butch Blues, which is a really important text in queer theory, details the lesbian, trans, and Jewish experience, and they were Jewish. Harvey Milk, the first openly gay man to be elected to public office in California, was Jewish. Frank Kameny, who is referred to as one of the most significant figures in the American gay rights movement, was Jewish. We have Rabbi Abby Stein, who is the first openly transgender woman raised in a Hasidic community, and she has worked on countless projects to make life easier for queer and trans people, Jews especially. And the list goes on, because queer history is full of Jews. As times begin to get tough for us again, it's more important now than ever for the Jewish community especially to show our support for queer joy, queer pride, and queer community. And as I've said before, my experience has been mostly positive, but mine is not not at all the universal queer experience. Many of my queer friends have not had it as easy and have not been met with the support they've needed, and I've seen this struggle especially within the trans community. I personally am not as qualified to talk about these issues because I'm not transgender, but I'm close with many members of the community, and I've seen what they've had to put up with and the danger they've been put in and the anti-trans legislation that has been spreading throughout the country. I've seen my friends having to hide who they are. I've seen my friends getting kicked out of their homes by their parents. And I almost lost one of my closest friends because of the burden of constant rejection was too much for them to deal with. And then there are smaller problems they have to deal with on the daily, from hearing their dead names to be intentionally or unintentionally misgendered, to basic disrespect. And these problems might look small in the long run, but they're still hurtful. Trans people are not going away, just like we as Jews aren't going away. Both of us have had long histories of oppression, and if we want our transgender siblings to feel safe and accepted, we have to take some time to listen to them. And one of the most important things we can do to show them that we support them is to listen to them. I cannot stress enough how important it is for us to listen to members of this community, because that small show of respect can go so far. This includes pronouns, and I'm going to make this educational for a second, but I think it's important. I lost my notes, so I'm going to go off the cuff, and this is going to be bad, but bear with me. So at the end of the day, the cardinal rule is to just, if a trans person tells you their name and tells you their pronouns, the cardinal rule is to listen to them about that. Respect what they tell you, respect the name they've given you, and respect the pronouns they've given you, just like you would a person who is not trans. Because when we don't do that, we show that we don't respect their identities. I've lost my notes. I'm trying to. Yeah, basically, listening to pronouns, listening to names, not dead naming, not asking for someone's birth name. All of these things can go so far. It's important for us to listen to these members of the community. And I get it that as times change, it becomes more complicated to understand certain identities. But the thing is, we don't have to understand someone completely to respect them. One of my favorite quotes about the trans experience and its intersection with Judaism comes from Julian Jarboe, who states, "God blessed me by making me transsexual for the same reason he made wheat but not bread and fruit but not wine, because he wants humanity to share in the act of creation." We too, as Jews, can relate to this, to sharing in the act of creation and in trying to create a better world around us. I've reached my limit for speaking in public, so I'm going to end it there. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me.
Well done. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad that you were here. I'm sure that Leah will answer any kind of questions during the oneg that's going to be after services tonight in honor of Lydia and Pride Shabbat, because this is actually Pride Shabbat, the last Shabbat in June. It's also Pride weekend. If this were New York, the fleet would be in and the streets would be awash with partiers. So it would be, it's a big weekend in cities across the country. All right, Maury.
Kadoosh.
Kiddush. Kiddush. And so, please rise. Vayir vayiboker yom hashishi, vayachulu hashamayim v'haaretz, v'chol tzevam, vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi, melachto asher hasa, vayishbot bayom hashvi, mikol melachto asher hasa, vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi, vayikadesh oto, hivo Shabbat, mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Sabri. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'maaseh v'reshit Ihu yom techilah l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher v'tziat Mitzrayim, Ivanu bacharta, Yotanu kidashta, Mikol ha'amim, V'shabbat kodshecha, V'yahava uvratzon, Inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh, Shabbat. All right, friends, please remain standing. Page 282 as we begin to close out our evening service. Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'atei kedula liotzer beishit. Shelo asanu kedoye haratzot, Lo samanu mishpachot hadama, Shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, V'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, V'anachnu korim ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומשה יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינת זו בגובי מרומי הוא אלוהינו אינו אמת אלוקינו ופסולתו כתוב בתורתו וידעת היום והשבותה אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל והארץ היא תחת עינו. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו You may be seated. We are observing Shloshim for Rabbi David Butcher and Roger Evans. This week, the following yard sites were observed: Sidney Comet, son of Lillian and Reuben; Miriam Cohen Glick, David's mother; Billy and Barbara's aunt; Agnes May Greenstein, Harry's wife, Irving's mother; Lillian Comet, Reuben's wife, Sydney's mother; Sylvia Friedman Levine, mother of Bruce Feder and Maureen Feder Heidbreder, Pauline Kaplan's cousin; Robert Bro, Jenny's husband, father of Randy, Scott, and Beckett; Rose Hartz Maces, Maurice Maces' wife; Samuel Hartz' sister, our Maurice's great aunt; Anne B. Nemens, mother of Binny Beeler; Rena Stern, Coleman's wife, mother of Brenda, Rosalind, Vicky, Janice, and Stephanie; Kenneth Levin, Barbara's husband; Ronald K. Rose, brother of Elaine Skoll; Isaac Lewis Sampson, friend or relative of Fred Ziffer; Jack I. Elderman, Matt and Lee Colker's grandfather, father of Al, Ida Strauss, Faye Borstein, and Lillian Colker; Abraham Silverstein, Lena's husband, Fred's father; Harold L. Herbert, Alice's husband, father of Anita, Ellen, and Marilyn, Maury's uncle; Sonia Weil, Martin's relative; Victor Wormser, Millie's husband, Sam and Ronnie's father; Al Elderman, son of Jack and Ann, husband of Rose, and father of Ann Cohen, Matt and Lee Colker's uncle; Rudolph Rosenberg, John Rosenberg's father; Julian S. Silverstein, Jack Hyman's cousin. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us always, and may they all rest in peace. Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 294. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shmei Rabbah, Dalmad, Yivrach, Gerutei, V'yamlik Malchutei, V'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chayei, V'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agalah, V'zman Kariv, V'yibru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah, V'varach, V'olam, L'mei Maya. Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh. V'yithadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shmei Kucha, Rechu. Le'elam, Yinko, V'yachata, V'shirata. Tushbachata, V'nechamata. Damiram, V'alma, V'yibru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chayim Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'yibru, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'romav, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'yibru, Amen. You may be seated. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and good Shabbos. Just a couple of quick announcements on my part before I have our president come up. I'm sure he has some announcements. Sunday, there are no classes at all, whether it's Talmud online or our Hebrew or Bible class. Camp Keith begins, and so we're going to be pretty busy with camp. So no classes for me this week. Hoyt. Hoyt's in a suit.
I always used to wear a suit, and then I started slacking.
I don't know. It's a good suit.
It
It's a good suit. It's like a Matrix suit.
is. It is. Shabbat Shalom, friends.
Shabbat Shalom.
All right, so tomorrow we have a special lunch and learn. The service will start at 10, and I encourage you to attend. Bring your own beverage. It's always fun. I'm going to bring my peanut butter whiskey, but you can bring what you like, whether it's Coke Zero or whatever. But it'll be fun, right?
Only peanut butter whiskey.
What's the lesson?
Oh, I'm not going to
Can I
tell.
go tell? Okay, more reason.
You got to show up for
You
the
gotta
food
show up.
and the
You
learning.
gotta show up. Sunday, we'll have service at 9. Rabbi told you we won't have class. I do want to put a shout out to the Oneg tonight. Thank you for, I think, was it, okay, what was
My
it?
mom, Cliff, and my mom and Cliff helped me.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi Bob and Mom and Cliff. Yeah, thank you very much. This is much better than McDonald's. And sisterhood.
Not for the Onig, but for everything they did this weekend.
And thanks to Sisterhood for everything that they did for today's service for Rabbi Witcher, and thanks to everybody who showed up and showed their love and remembering the Rabbi. It hasn't been an easy week, but I appreciate everybody being here because this is good. The rest of the week, Martha, we need to start thinking about if you haven't contributed. Martha is retiring. We are still looking for her replacement. If anybody knows who may want to have that job, let me know, or let the rabbi know, or let somebody know on the board, because it's very important that we Marilyn, yeah, let Marilyn know. Thanks. Yes, I know your name, and I know you. Thank you, Marilyn, for your tireless efforts. Please do that. The Yiddish choir, I think we're still having that on Wednesday with Toby and Scott Murphy, and then we'll be back here. But that's what's going on. Camp Cave starts this Sunday. I hope everybody's summer is going pretty well since it started officially on the 21st. So thanks.
Thank you. Well done.
Thanks.
I want to say Toda Rabah again to Lydia for her inspiring words. And it's always good when we can have somebody from our home congregation get up and talk about important things. And so we say, thank you, Lydia. You can hate me after the Oneg for kind of forcing you or twisting your arm. And that's it. Immediately after services, we have an Oneg, and then tomorrow, lunch and learn. I mean, it's a weekend of food, apparently. So let's close out on 3:21 with Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'ed Nasa B'chefsor Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nivra V'Acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Vehu Haya Vehu Hove Vehu Yeh B'Tifara Vehu Echad V'Ein Sheni Laham Shelo Lahachbira B'li Reshit B'li Tachlit V'lo Ha'oz V'Ham Yisra Vehu Eli V'Chai Goali V'Tzur Chebli B'Yitzhara Vehu Nisi Umanos Li Menat Kosi Biomekra Biahado Avkid Ruchi Bi'etishan Bi'ahira B'im Ruchi Geviati Adonai Li V'lo Yira. All right, we do have some people saying hello to us on the intertubes, but it's probably not Mom or Cliff because they are here. Donna Wilson, Shabbat Shalom on the beautiful Sabbath. Thank you, Donna. Same to you. And Judy Lundy, Shabbat Shalom all. Thank you, Judy. Same to you. All right, friends, if you're not here for the Oneg, you've missed it. But tomorrow there's a chance to make that up with coming to services and then to the lunch and learn. I want everybody to be out and enjoy this beautiful weather. Stay hydrated. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos, and please, please be careful out there.